By December this year, every M-Pesa paybill in Kenya becomes a KRA cash register. From July, every mobile money fee carries a new 16% VAT on top of the already 20% excise duty that is already there. Those are two taxes on the same transaction. What's happening is that the finance bill of 2026 is currently right now in public participation. It will be closing this Sunday on the 25th of May. I don't know if you have had a look, but it's important you understand what's happening. Here is what nobody is saying. This is not just a tax increase. It's actually the 2024 architecture, but it has now been rebuilt a bit more quietly. And they are building it right now through invoicing. What happened is that the 2024 bill tried to amend the Data Protection Act. The public pressure actually forced that bill out of Parliament. The 2026 version does not need that law. It doesn't need Parliament's permission. It arrives through items. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do in this video. I'm going to walk you through three things. Number one, I'm going to show you what the finance bill actually does to your mobile money. That's the first thing. The second thing, why it bypasses everything that stopped the 2024 bill. The third thing I want us to do today with this video is that why even the strongest argument for it does not hold up. Then I'll tell you exactly what to do about it before Sunday. We'll make every effort to have all the sources linked in the description below so that we can have some judicious investigation of what actually is. Let's begin. First, what the Finance Bill 2026 actually does to your mobile money. Have you asked yourself? There are three changes. Each one looks like a separate compliance measure, but together they form one architecture. That KRA-linked electronic tax register must be now integrated as well by December with items. So when a customer pays a business through that pay bill, the transaction is automatically reported to KRA. The VAT is computed, and then the VAT is remitted in real time. Three changes, but it's all one architecture. That's the first thing. Let me tell you about the second thing, about the Finance Bill of 2026. Why this bypasses everything that stopped the 2024 bill, and I want you to see it clearly. KRA has been trying to get into M-Pesa for about a decade now. Every legal route they could find, they have tried it already. Most of them failed. As a matter of fact, and kudos to the green guys, Safaricom has pushed back every time. And the grounds has always been our strong data protection laws. Parliament has declined and completely refused to give KRA the access they have asked for, again and again. The most recent attempt was in the Finance Bill of 2024, as many of you know. It had the specific provision that would have amended the Data Protection Act so that the Data Protection Act would exempt KRA from the consent requirements that apply to every other government agency. That provision was part of the broader package that produced the 2024 protests. I know you remember these ones very well. And when the bill was withdrawn, the privacy exemption went with it, comrades. But in 2026, the same destination has been redesigned. I don't know if you understand what I'm talking about. We are getting to the same effect, but on a different route. And the plan is to get KRA's eyes into your M-Pesa. The route is this. And actually, that's actually where now the real reveal lives. This time, the bill does not need Parliament to grant KRA legal access to your mobile money data because the structure is such that it's not being framed as access. The framing is, it is being framed as compliance. So when you wire KRA's items invoicing system into M-Pesa, you don't need to ask Parliament for anything. The data shows up automatically. At the moment of the transaction, that data is submitted in real time to KRA, not as surveillance, but as the invoicing now. There is no privacy question to vote on because there is no moment where anyone is asking you, there's no moment where anybody is asking you anywhere to share the data. Now, the bill answers a very interesting question before that question is even asked. Listen, the eTIMS integration has been moving in parallel with the finance bill itself. Safaricom CEO Mr. Peter Ndegwa has publicly opposed converting these pay bills into tax registers, arguing, of course, that it would reverse Kenya's digital inclusion gains. But Treasury has continued anyway. KRA Commissioner says it could improve tax compliance by 16%. And when Treasury Cabinet Secretary Honorable John Buddy went on record, he said the following: M-Pesa transactions are not income. They are transfer of funds. KRA will not go after people sending money through M-Pesa. He was making a true statement about a very small part of the bill while concealing the broader architecture. The 16% VAT is the visible part. The eTIMS integration, quietly building in the background, is the invisible part. And that is the real structural work. And look, this isn't a critique of anyone's personal honesty. It's a description of how policy architecture is being built into two pieces. So there is one part of the policy that is being built in the parliament. It is parliamentary. There is another one that is administrative that we are building from the eTIM side. So the second piece never has to survive parliamentary scrutiny. That's the mechanism. That's how the 2026 finance bill reaches a destination the 2024 one could not. That's the second thing. Here's the third thing I want you to know about the finance bill of 2026. And even, by the way, FYI, there is no argument in that particular bill that will hold up. I want to engage now in a couple of counter arguments of all the things I have said. I know they are very strong responses to all the postulations that we have just laid here. And I want to pick some of them. We're having a conversation with some of my community members, and I'm thinking it is only fair that I begin to, from my perspective, contribute to the conversation. I could be right, I could be wrong. This is just my view, and I'm putting it to you so that you can begin to as well form your own opinions that will now, as it were, inform action as far as how we are building this nation. Remember, Kenya is our business. Kenya is ours. And consequently, we must participate in order that we build a great destiny for our nation. The strongest counter argument to most of the things that I have said, by the way, is not the political one. The political counter argument is that the government is overreaching line. You know, that's what people like to say. The government is overreaching. That's serious. But my counter argument is coming from fiscal policy analysts. They're the ones who are fighting my view the most, especially the voices and even strong voices from organizations like IMF. You will find that the biggest counter argument is coming from policy analysts and IMF analysts. And it goes something like this, that Kenya is in a debt trap. Okay, that's how it starts. And that because you are in a debt trap, you need to move to a place where you can come out of this debt trap. More than 60% towards 70 direction of every tax shilling now goes to service that debt. The country has to close the revenue gap. And I agree with them because that does make a lot of sense. And the argument is that if we don't close the revenue gap, we are looking at structural fiscal failure in this nation. 83% of Kenyans work in informal economy. True. They don't pay their share. And that's the argument they will make. The 17% in the formal sector already getting hammered by PAYE and fuel taxes. They are carrying so much weight, and that weight should be distributed. And now they land their argument. They land their argument this way, that mobile money is the only operational lever that touches the informal economy at scale. So the choice, they argue, isn't surveillance versus privacy. It is structural visibility versus fiscal collapse. And every other lever, formalization, property tax, capital gains, all those others, they take a decade to build. Kenya needs revenue this year. So yes, the architecture is invasive, but it is our only option, they argue. Because apparently, a government that has our debt position and our tax base actually has that argument. Can you imagine? It's very serious. And it deserves a serious response. Now, here is where it's right. True, granted, Kenya's fiscal position currently is really constrained. We have entered into a debt trap. Something happened in 2013, 2014. It is the first time ever since independence, Kenya began to borrow commercially. Before, in Moi's regime, as you're aware, in Kibaki's regime, we only touched concessional loans, only bilateral lending. We never had commercial terms for loans because countries should borrow like countries borrow. Countries should not borrow like companies borrow. But in 2014, that changed in His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta's government, and for the first time, we took a commercial loan with commercial interest rates. So our physical position currently is constrained. True. The informal economy genuinely is under tax. Granted. The formal sector genuinely is overburdened. Those are hard facts. But here is where those counter-arguments fall short. It treats two options only: visibility or failure. As if that's the whole menu. It is not. There's a third option. The one Kenya hasn't built for 60 years. That option is called formalization through service provision. Can I say it one more time? That's the third option. Formalization through service provision. And that's our contribution to the conversation. That you can bring the 83% informal workers, informal sector economy, into the national revenue basket by providing services, not through structural visibility. Look, the way other countries have brought informal workers into the tax base is by making formalization worth it. It is by providing the public goods that justify it. I hope you're understanding what I'm talking about now. It's by providing functional healthcare, an actual pension system, reliable courts, contract enforcement, infrastructure that serves small businesses. People will begin to formalize voluntarily when the state on the other side is worth formalizing into. I know you're seeing what I'm talking about now. Kenya hasn't built that state yet. So instead of building it, we are reaching for the visibility lever. Because visibility is faster than service provision. Anyway, visibility is cheaper than service provision. What about human rights? What about Kenyan rights? What about privacy rights? That's the same trap we saw in the fuel piece. Same trap we saw in the debt piece. Everything has traps. Did you know that of the 214 shillings we are paying right now, about 72 of it does not pay for fuel, goes into other government allocations. Pulling the easy lever today is easy instead of building the harder thing. That's exactly what is producing every fiscal crisis in Kenya for 2 generations. The Finance Bill 2026 is just the next chapter of that same trap. That's the third thing. So in conclusion, 3 things. 1, the Finance Bill 2026 does 3 things to your mobile money. A 16% VAT on transaction fees, expanded commissioner access powers, and the paybill to tax register conversion. It converts your paybill into a tax register. Together, one architecture. Number 2, That architecture doesn't need Parliament's permission because it's being built through invoicing and not legislation. That's the 2024 lesson redesign. Number 3, the strongest argument for it, that we have no other choice, that argument is incomplete. There is the third option. We've never just built it. And as Kenyans, we need to begin to do that. Here's what this means for you starting in July. Every time you send 100 shillings on M-Pesa, you will pay the existing 20% excise on the fee, plus a new 16% VAT on top. 2 layers of tax on the same transfer. And every paybill payment you make, your supermarket, your border guy, your landlord, gets reported to KRA the moment it happens. That's not an accident. That's the architecture. Now, here's what you need to do tonight. The public participation window for the Finance Bill 2026 is going to close on Sunday, the 25th of May at 5 p.m. Comrades, business people, business associations, civil society, anyone, you can make a written or oral submission to the Departmental Committee on the Finance and National Planning Submission. What you need to do, go to parliamentary, is it called parliament.go.ke? Go to that portal. You have until Sunday. After that, that participation closes. It will go back to the committee. The committee will compile its report. The bill goes back to the National Assembly for the second and third readings. Then it goes to the President for assent. By the 30th of June, it's either an act or it's not. The 2024 Finance Bill was withdrawn because young Kenyans decided knowing was not the same thing as acting. They were not organized, they were not expected to be political, they were not expected to, as it were, be I struggle with this word, revolutionary. They were not expected to be the political force they became. But the 2026 Finance Bill arrives at the same destination without parliamentary approval. Whether the same civic force shows up at the same scale, that's up to you to decide. Whether you're going to contribute by going to parliamentary.go.ke, that's up to you to decide. It's not a question I can answer, but it's actually the only question that matters. Will you participate in shaping where Kenya is going? The data is in this video. Everything that I have quoted here is all put in the links before.